Coach.
Doing
Good, you?
doing great. Well, unbelievable opportunity sitting in front of us here with a top 10 matchup versus a really good team. You watch these guys on tape. They do a lot of things well. I think the first thing that just stands out to you is when you look at special teams and how dominant they've been in special teams and blocking kicks, just what they do, and then how they play to their players' strengths. Their quarterback's playing as good as anybody. Obviously, they're extremely well coached on both sides of the ball. They create a lot of havoc on defense, and ultimately, that's where we're counting on our fans to be part of what makes this environment great. It's an exciting weekend in Eugene. A lot of people coming to town to watch this game because it's a premier game between two really good teams, and counting on our fans to have a big impact on that game.
Right on the right, Zach.
So last week you wanted to showcase Autzen Stadium after seeing Happy Valley and kind of let the fans show what they could do with game day coming now, and kind of how much does that elevate this for you guys?
Well, it doesn't necessarily affect our prep, right? The excitement's around playing an unbelievable team, but I think you'd be lying if you said it didn't affect our fans and the excitement around this game that it's going to create for them. And our fans have always been unbelievable, but we want everybody in the Big Ten to get to experience that. So Indiana's coming. They're obviously a really talented team, but our fans got a chance to make an impact, and we want to see it and feel it on Saturday.
James.
His time in Tuscaloosa certainly predated yours, Dan, but I didn't know how much, if at all, because of crossover with Kirby and some other guys, how much time you've ever had a chance to meet with Kurt and obviously just know of his influence and his time there at the receiver position specifically.
Yeah, I haven't, outside of us being around each other, Big Ten meetings. Obviously, everywhere he's been, he's had a lot of success. His team's really well coached. I think the other piece that really sticks out about their staff, you look at their staff, a lot of those guys have been together for a long time, like a lot of continuity, and that speaks to guys that want to coach with him. He's won everywhere he's been, right? That's really apparent, but he's obviously a phenomenal coach and has done a really good job.
All right, Chris.
Just your impressions and thoughts of their offense. I know it's real balanced, and what do you do to try to combat that balance?
Yeah, I think the first thing that sticks out is like this is a team that has a clear identity. They know what they're good at, and they do it really, really, really well. They run the ball well, and they obviously have RPO tags off a lot of their runs that they make sure what they're running it into an advantageous look. When they're throwing it into a good look. They do a really good job of that. So that's the thing that stands out. They're rushing as well as anybody in the country, and then throwing as well as anybody in the country, and they have a lot of weapons that they can use.
On the left here, John.
First start for Dylan for Cleveland this weekend and a big win for Bo. Dante's been off to a hot start this year. What does it just say about what Coach Stein has done in his time here in terms of developing that position?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. We've had a lot of success with quarterback, and Will's definitely a big part of that. Our offensive staff is, and it's great to see those guys doing really well at the next level.
Next, Omer.
I think Fernando was like 40 of 43 2 consecutive games. Or what allows him to be that accurate, that dialed in, consistent?
Yeah, their timing is really impressive. They know where guys are going to be at. They do a really good job of shaping their routes. He's got great delivery. He's able to throw the ball extremely well, but he's throwing it, and he knows where his wideout's going to be, and he knows what coverage he's throwing into. So that's an indicator of a really well coached player and that knows his system extremely well.
Back right, Aaron.
Sticking with the quarterback, you guys faced him back when he was at Cal in 2023. Just how has he progressed from then until now in this season?
Well, I think he's surrounded by some really talented players, and I think again has a really clear understanding of a scheme. This offense, when you watch it, it has an identity. You're going to see the same play ran a couple times. The window dressing might be different, but they know how to run this play. It's not about inventing new offense. It's about running it better than you and executing it better than you, and they do a really good job of that. And then they do enough of that to where you think, okay, this is what it's going to be, and then they throw a wrinkle in there, and it is different. So he's playing in an offense that clearly has an identity, and he's playing around really good players.
Right here on the right, Zach.
It's probably the best receiving group that you've gone up against so far this year. What have you seen from 3 and 13 specifically on tape?
Yeah, they're strong at the point of attack. They go and catch the ball. If they're not catching the ball, they're creating pass interference calls because of the way they attack the ball. They've got good speed, and they can run all the routes in the route tree.
James.
What's enabled them to cause so much havoc on defense, particularly in TFLs and sacks?
Yeah, I mean, it's a multitude of looks. They're aggressive by nature, right? They do a good job of eliminating explosive plays, but they run a lot of, simulated pressures and fire zone pressures that create, havoc up front. Paths change quite a bit, with the D-line, a lot of different stunts that they use. And the guys win at the point of attack when they do blitz. So they do a good job of that.
On the left here, John.
What kind of sense of comfort does a guy like Dante provide you and the rest of the coaching staff as a guy who doesn't put the ball at risk and avoids those negative plays and sacks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's really important, and it's tough against a team like this that plays a little bit more spot zone. They break on the ball really, really well. They do a good job of playing in zones and understand where the quarterback's going to take the ball. So this is one where we have to do a great job of protecting the ball, but our quarterback's done that so far. Dante's got to continue to do that this week.
Here on the right, Zach.
There's a narrative out there nationally, which I know you could care less about, but that this team is ahead of schedule because they're so young and playing so well. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
You talking about our team?
Yes.
Nothing.
Here on the right.
I was off Zach there just a little bit. This is one of the better wide receiver cores you faced so far, and you've got a couple of young DBs. What's allowed them, both personally and then from your staff, to progress so quickly in this defense?
Yeah, preparation. These guys have worked really, really hard. We pitch a lot at them every single week about understanding how we're going to play certain coverages or adapt those changes. Those guys have worked really hard, prepared really hard, and then they push themselves in practice to get the results you want on the field on Saturdays.
On the left, Eric.
Sounds like Pons is going to be available for Indiana this weekend based on what the coach's comments earlier. What kind of a difference maker is he, and kind of what do you see on film?
He's a great player, and it doesn't just show up on defense; shows up on special teams as well. Obviously, he primarily plays the boundary, but he's a guy that can cover whoever he's lined up against. But also does a really good job. He's blocked the punt this year, right? So he's a guy that shows up all over the field for them.
John.
When you're going into a quarterback matchup like this where two guys have played so high level, how do you try to create advantages? What does Dante have to do to kind of separate himself from Mendoza in this game?
Well, he'll never be on the field the same time as Mendoza, and Mendoza will never be on the field the same time as him. So all he has to do is go out there and play his game, and the rest will take care of itself. He's competing to be the best version of himself. He's not competing against him.
James.
Don't believe Jaleel made the trip to Penn State either. Just where is he right now in terms of status with the team? And I know obviously still coming off things health-wise, but we've seen him play in some earlier games.
Yeah, he's still practicing with us, working every single day.
Zach on the right.
It's been a while since we asked, but I was curious if you could give us an update on Dylan Gresham, Evan Stewart, and Trey McNutt.
They'll all be down this week.
Here on the right.
You had said last Wednesday during the bye week that you had taken a different approach. Any insight on how that went, what you guys did specifically?
Yeah, just a little bit more focused on recovery, on some of the work that we had to do. I think you check boxes as a coach, like, okay, do we have a physical team? What do you need to ramp up in a bye week? What do you need to dial back? And I feel like we have a physical team. It was important for us to be able to recover and train ourselves with more mental reps, more than physical practice reps at times.
All the way up for you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.